Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Roundup here on Blood Bowl Live. We're here to go through all of the fixtures from the last week in the A&DBBL Season 10. My name is Chris, stepping in for Scott, and I'm afraid I don't have his magnificent gift of the gab when it comes to intros. So I'll just say that the wonderful Mr. Tom Hovell is joining me this week to go through the games. We have got 4 games to bring you, one from the Elimination Chamber and 3 games from the Champions Cup. It's been a hell of a week. All 4 of the games that we've got to show you this week have been absolute gripping games to follow. And let's not waste any time and let's dive straight in with the Elimination Chamber fixture that we started the week with, a 3-2 victory for Detroit Lioness, the Bretonians versus the Kesgrave Cutter Goblins. 3-2 on the touchdowns, 2-1 on the casualties for the Bretonian side. In Chris's first season, a good victory in this first round of the Elimination Chamber, a brand new style of competition that we're doing this season. It was a good start and a good continued game for the Bretonians, who have a very strong squad on the back of their group performance. And Tom, I don't think we should be that surprised, really, that Chris has put up such a good fight against Andy, who is very established and unlucky to have not gone through to the top playoff coach, because Chris kind of all the playoff games that he lost were very, very tight, and he's built a very, very strong looking team that has got a result here.
Yeah, absolutely. His group games were very much a baptism of fire because there was, some very, very good coaches in there and past winners, I believe, of previous seasons. So he was up against it, but clearly he's used that to learn how to play this Bretonian team again, a brand new team for this season.
Yeah, looking at some of the previous results he had, he was, and I think he was unlucky to get some losses and some draws there that could have been wins. But in this game up against the Goblins, he got off to a good start. Goblins absolutely kind of removing players very quickly via fouls. And taking the lead, but the Bretonians leveling very, very quickly. And then in the second half, getting back-to-back touchdowns, then the Blizzard possibly making it a little bit difficult, but Goblins still coming back to make it 3-2. Um, the interesting thing here, and I'm interested to get your thoughts on it, is Andy's obviously lost this game, but he's got 2 touchdowns. He's got a casualty, so that is going to give him 3 points. And we know that a loss in the Elimination Chamber, at least in the first round, could still get you through. Do you think 3 points, 2 touchdowns, and 1 casualty will be enough? Or do you think that other people will lose and put up more of a fight and Andy's going to be left short?
I think he's got a good chance to go through with that. I think that's quite a positive result, even though it is a loss on his part. It's an interesting one because he's unfortunately got a trained troll out, I believe, for the next game as well, and also that pogoer was badly hurt as well. So we'll see how it goes on that side of things. But I think it's anyone's game in this kind of division.
Yeah, I think the troll with the new hire and fire, we should actually probably up because that's happened since last week, hasn't it? That Torplay has brought into their system the higher fire rules that is now locked in, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see now. You get teams like the Goblins who have got a troll that they can't replace. It's a stat busted troll with passing. So if you were looking at throw teammate with it, that would be struggle. But it's got block and guard, so you probably do want to keep it. But now he can't replace that until the next game if he has got himself enough points. So yeah, we'll have to see really how that kind of works out. But let's move away from the elimination chamber and we will go to the first game of the Champions Knockout. It was myself versus Justin, and it was a 2-1 victory here for the Imperial Nobility side. A very tough fought game on Friday night, this one. between myself and Justin. A good start for the Ducks receiving, sitting back, immediately retreating and burning a few turns, and then getting a passing play to one of three skinks, diving catch becoming very helpful, the accurate catch and the +1, meaning the catch in the tackle zone, and getting the early touchdown. But Nobility side, and I think this is probably the key thing here, Tom, was that the I don't think Tom's with me actually. It might just be me. I'll wait for Tom to appear. The key thing here was the inducements that the Imperial Nobility side took. The Imperial Ability side taking Puggy, strength 3, stunty, throwable piece, immediately getting the one-turn touchdown to respond and level the game. Ducks then unlucky not to get an equalizer, one dodge away with a dodge reroll from getting an equalizer. So very, very close to being 2-1 up at half time, but going in at 1-1, and the Imperial Nobility side then were receiving the ball. And then in the second half, a lot of pressure put on by the Lizards against the Imperial Nobility sides, and getting the ball, and at several points looking like they were just one move away from getting the touchdown. But sadly, it wasn't meant to be. Failed dodges, other turnovers, ball got freed up. Justin got some good blocks in at the right places, and managed to get the ball free to take the 2-1 win in the end. Tom,
Hello. Can you hear
back
me?
here now.
Hello.
We can, and I think you were quiet, and it was my fault you were quiet, but I've resolved that, so you're fine.
All right.
So, Tom, the thing that I want to ask you here is, I was kind of calculating various inducements Justin could have taken in this one. Puggy wasn't one that I thought, but Puggy was a very good choice, and maybe a choice for other coaches, particularly nobility coaches, to consider more, because he's strength 3 and it gives that one turn option a very, very good option in the end.
Absolutely. Is he the only strength 3 that can be thrown? Do we know?
I'm not aware of another strength 3 with
No.
right stuff. I wonder whether that is
I think that was the
Puggy's
highest.
quirk.
Yeah.
And he's also got block as well. He's got dodge as well. He's a sturdy little halfling.
Ooh.
And that was very key because it got the one turn touchdown straight away. So yeah, Tom, what are your thoughts here? You obviously played Justin as well in the group stage. You had some good results against him. His team are looking very, very good for the quarterfinals.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can see that was a very good tactical move for him, bringing in Puggy with a one-turn touchdown, because his team is very, very good. He's a good statistician with his way he positions and places his team. He's got all that fend and wrestle all over the place, which just frustrates you every 5 minutes. So he can take you down, or he can make you kind of not follow up. So yeah, I think he's in for a good one. It sounded like it was just, unfortunately, just wasn't your day, and Nuffle kind of intervened in certain times, but that's not taking away. You were up against Justin. So is this the last we'll see of the Bitey Ducks?
Absolutely not. No, I'll redraft them for next season. I think I felt that the last kind of the way the season kind of ended felt very unfortunate for them. Quite unlucky with a number of things. I think I counted maybe 5 different dice rolls that had they gone slightly differently in my favor, and I only maybe one of any of those 5 going slightly differently in my favor, then I think I've won this game. So I think that's unfortunate. But Justin's got a very strong squad here. He's had the better of me 3 games in a row in this league. There was going to be no stopping him, and he's absolutely. I think this is one of the most terrifying teams I've seen him build. He's had some strong Elven Union ones, but this feels like one of the strongest. So I think he's got a really good chance to go through. How much do you think he's going to be impacted by being a bodyguard down? He's got obviously the 2 strength 4 blitzers, which are very, very good pieces here. Is that going to have, do you think that's going to have much of an impact, kind of limit the control he's going to have? He's now got 2 guard bodyguards, but is that is having 3 rather than 4 going to be a big problem?
I don't think so. Like you say, he's got those strength 4 blodge blitzers that also come with catch and pro. They are dangerous players. Yeah, he's got three bodyguards, 2 with guard, 1 with hatred of a tree man. It doesn't really make a difference, really. Yeah, I would say he's in a very good position. He's still got 11 players, so he's still got a full team, so he doesn't need to take on any journeymen. And he's got 430k in the bank, so he's sitting pretty there. You may even think, does he take another reroll?
Yeah, and he's in the chat, and he can afford a mercenary bodyguard, so he can have the 4 bodyguards, but just 1 will have loner. So, and you're right, he can afford another reroll. I think he's got many options depending on who he faces in the next round. So. Yeah, well done to Justin. Duck season over for now, but they'll be back for season 11, and we'll see how far Justin can go in this playoff.
Just a quick one on the Mighty Ducks. Who's going to be redrafted? Is there anyone destined to automatically be redrafted in your team?
It's difficult to look past Ken, Adge to Cannoneer. He's got enough SPP for another stat, for another skill choice, a random skill. So I think I would probably want to bring him back. I'm also looking at some of these Saurus. I'm actually kind of looking, while Block Kick Pro is good, I'm actually looking at maybe the one that is just block with hatred for undead. And also, depending on what it feels like people are taking next season, if there's a lot of human teams, maybe just taking this one that has hatred for humans and no other skills is not a bad shout. No. And then there's, of course, there's Leicester, who, sidestep, sure feet, diving catch, and hatred for humans. That's a very strong piece to bring back as well. So yeah. I'm just looking in the chat. Just said you need to discuss that ball carrier hit. Yes, it kind of sums up. I think this is the one Justin's referring to. Yes, it is the one he's referring to. So it sums up how things just weren't really going the way I wanted them to. That my Saurus punched the ball carrier, knocked the ball carrier down. The ball bounced onto the Saurus, who caught it on a 6. I then decided I didn't want that. So Justin reminded me I had pro. I didn't want that Saurus to have the ball. So I rolled pro to try and not catch it. I rolled a 6 pro. And then I had another chance to catch the ball. And I rolled a 6 again to catch it a second time. Summed up that nothing that was going to go my way, I think, at key points there. But yes, Ducks will be back. Well done to Justin. Good luck in the next round. And the next game that we have to go to is a 3-2 victory in extra time for Feeks' Wood against the Rude Boys and Crumpers. An incredible fixture, this one, and one that was streamed. So I recommend going onto YouTube. And if you've got the time to watch this one, it is a fantastically tense, close, well-fought game between these two coaches. The Orcs coming in with a very strong team here. Feeks, Scott coming in with Feeks' Wood with a lot of experience with this Wood Elf side, and it was a very, very tight game here. At halftime, went in at halftime 1-1. No, 1-0 at halftime.
Yeah.
Very quickly 1-1, leveled by the Wood Elves, and it did look, Tom, like the Orcs were in control in that second half, but then the Elves managed to, get in the right places and somehow managed to just throw the right 1 dice block to get them the ball and get it free.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is actually on our stream, so if you want to go and watch it, it's available to watch. Highly recommend it. It's a crazy game. It just shows to never give up. You should never give up on these kind of things, because as you say, the first time we went to 1-0, we've already got a dead lineman and elf lineman. you're at turn 8. It's pretty much, well, I'm hemorrhaging players. Acorn's not doing anything. I'm 1-0 down at half time. What's there to do? Well, this is a really good kind of idea of what you can do. Turn 10, we're back to 1-1. But again, Orcs do what Orcs do and start taking out players. So again, takes out another lineman, then carries on fouling all the way through, takes out another lineman in turn 14. And again, the last 3 turns were just incredible. Scott goes back up to 2-1. We think, oh, is that it? Has he done it? But no, again, another injured lineman. So as you can tell, there's not a lot of elves on the pitch now. And the Goblin does a 1-turn touchdown and manages to score. So it then goes into extra time, didn't it? And that was, again, equally gripping.
Yeah, and it was. I think that's one of the tough things about this Orc team and a few other teams that you look at, and you do your best to, you get the lead, and then a one turn can, the 1-turn option is there, and I think what both coaches did quite well in this one is reroll management. They both kind of handled that really well. He made sure he had the reroll, and he needed it. He needed it for one of the rushes on that Goblin because it didn't scatter the right way. He had to do 2 rushes, and he failed the first one and needed the reroll. So the really good management from the Orcs to kind of get that. And then we got to extra time. The kick goes the way of the elves, and they managed to get the early touchdown, and then that turned out to be game. A really harsh one, I think, for Will. He's played incredible this season. He's had the best performance in the group stage of any team, points wise. Absolutely phenomenal. And a very good looking team from a redraft perspective. There are some very there's not loads of players with skills, but that maybe makes the redraft easier because you're not picking between people. There's some really kind of obvious options there as to who to bring back.
Yeah, that strength 5 Biggin with block. Yeah, that's a definite coming back.
And I think as well, possibly not spending SPP on some of these players, bringing them back, because there's the argument as well. There's an Orc lineman here with 9 SPP. I know it's just a lineman, but it's a tempting option. Let's talk about the elves then. They did take a decent beating. Which was somewhat unfortunate. But actually, when you look at all the players that were getting injured, Tom, it was all linemen. He kept all of his key players going for the whole game.
Yeah, and let's be honest, those war dancers were right in the mix of all the ball action. So he was quite lucky to keep them, even after some cheeky fouls right at the end as well.
Yeah, now looking at the positionals he's got, I mean, 2 war dancers, frenzy tackle, sidestep, strip ball, sidestep. The catchers both with sidestep and block. He's got a leader reroll in there. He's got kick on the thrower. He's got a team that can really control a game now. And I guess the toughest thing, and we'll get onto this in a bit, is the fact that he's got over 1 Orc hurdle, and he was always guaranteed another Orc hurdle if he won, because the next game that we'll look at in a second is Orcs v Orcs.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is that he's got all that sidestep everywhere. On all his best players, they've got sidestep, so he can literally go anywhere on the pitch. The sidelines are his kind of area. The center will be absolutely fine. He's got leap on his war dancers as well. Plus, he's got frenzy now on a war dancer, as well as some strip ball. So yeah, this is looking a very good team. I think hopefully he'll learn his lessons from this Orc game to take into the next Orc game.
Well done to Scott, a very good victory, and massive well done to Will as well for a phenomenal debut season. He absolutely looks like a force to be reckoned with, and looking forward to seeing those Orcs come back next season for another fight at the title as well. going on to the last game then. So this game played almost immediately afterwards, and they knew that they would have to face, they weren't going to have to face another Orc side afterwards. They knew that they would be facing the Wood Elves. And it was a 3-1 victory in the end for the Butchers Orcs versus the Goreforge Smashers Orcs. Luke taking the win here, relatively level on casualties, but the touchdowns going the way of the Orcs. My understanding for this one is that it did look very tight and start very tight at the beginning. We had a blizzard that was very quickly replaced by nice and sunny weather, which I'm sure both coaches will have been happy to see. And both coaches starting how they probably mean to go on here, with a foul and a send off, and then a foul and then a send off on both sides. But the Butchers in the end stalling on turn 7 to get the touchdown on turn 8 and take the lead. But for the third game in a row, immediate response from a 1-turn touchdown from a throw teammate to level the game. And then the second half looked very close. I think there was a charge kickoff event in there as well. Butchers taking the lead on turn 13. And then my understanding from Luke is we're at this point where the game just sort of turned in his favor. And very quickly then, by turn 16, a 3-1 win for this Orc side. Mirror matches, Tom, are always tough. So this would have been a really difficult one for both coaches, because you know what you're up against, but at the same time, you kind of know the good and you know the bad, and can be very difficult to kind of figure out.
Yeah, it's interesting because Simon obviously had kind of petty cash and took your classic Fungus the Loon and Bomber dribble slot. That's not, but unfortunately, to no avail really. By the looks of things, they didn't really show up. As far as I can tell, they may correct me and say that they knocked out quite a few players, but yeah, it's an interesting one on that side of things. The thing that's really kind of changed the Orc game, I suppose, is you're now constantly seeing the Troll and a Goblin, or at least one Goblin, being included in a team for that 1-turn touchdown. Whereas previous seasons, it was literally all Orcs. You'd never really take a Goblin or a Troll in it. So it's really showing a different variety of how to play with these Orcs.
Yeah, as far as the star players go, it looks like Bomber only made it to turn 3, which is unfortunate. And then looking at the way it went, it looks like Fungus maybe didn't play the first drive, but played the second, possibly forced to play the second. Which is really tough, and that's a good way to kind of get rid of the star players, is forcing them to come on the pitch just on turn 8, so that they then do get immediately sent off again. And it does look like Fungus probably didn't do anything. Had to be put on the pitch. 1-turn touchdown was good for Simon, but unfortunately, it's the only turn Fungus is on the field and then goes. So possibly unfortunate with the way that went. Let's look then at what team Scott will be facing in the next round. This very, very nice looking Orc team here. We've got the almost token at this point, strength increased blitzer with strip ball. Multiple block and guard on a Troll, block guard, mighty blow on a bigger blocker, block guard, tackle, mighty blow. It looks terrifying, doesn't it? You know, this is another team that has been built to turn elf armor into halfling armor.
Yeah, I'm just so pleased that they're on the other side of the table from me, to be brutally honest. I won't ever get to see any of these teams until the final. Not to say that I've got an easier route at all, but yeah, it is frightening how many skills, how many SPP all of the Orcs have kind of obtained over the season. And again, it might be something that someone might want to put in Discord or in the chat, but it's the fact is, do we think that things like team captain and also the bruisers rule is a bit overpowered?
It's been up there. It's been a discussion point, hasn't it? And I think everyone's having this conversation about the impact of brawling brutes and team captain. Team captain is a funny one. You know, it's a 1 in 6, but it can be a very powerful 1 in 6. I think for me, the interesting thing, when you look at this squad in particular, you look at the number of casualties on those 6 positionals at the top there. There's a lot of casualties that he's racked up. Now, I think to be fair, to put it into context, in his group, he did have a snotling, a underworld team in the group that may have made it easier to kind of farm some casualties. But you look at the combination of brawling brutes and the mighty blow across the team. Look at some of the positionals there that have mighty blow and how many casualties they've got, or they've got block or mighty blow or both. And I think I think the assumption maybe with brawling brutes is that teams that don't have it score the touchdowns, and teams that do have it score the casualties, and that they score the same. I'm assuming the assumption is that you get the same number of casualties in a casualty heavy team as you do touchdowns in a touchdown heavy team. But actually, I don't think that's quite right, and I don't think the balance is quite there. But it's certainly kind of mixed things up, and it's created some of these incredible teams. So it'll be interesting whether that's something GW have their eye on in the future, but I'm not so sure. Let's have a little look at Simon's team then. Bowing out, I don't think Simon is planning to redraft this team here, but he's got some really good positionals here that he's built up. That thrower with kick leader, block, pass, sure hands, that's a great ball carrier and a great kind of just utility piece there. He's got some good skills. He's got some incredible SPP. He's got an Orc Blitzer here with 10 SPP. If he did ever decide to redraft here, who's your top pick? Because again, I think my gut feeling is that you bring back that Orc Blitzer with the SPP, but not the skills, because it's cheap and you can immediately skill it up.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. I would usually have said, oh yeah, I'll definitely bring back that thrower because it's a good ball carrier. But again, like I say, you've now got the trolls and the goblins that are really taking that place, so to speak. They've got a number of really good players in there. That block break tackle with 12 SPP looks pretty good. And also talking about what you just mentioned there about casualties, 7 and 6 casualties apiece on the 2 big and blockers. That is incredible.
I think if you had 2 positionals that had 7 and 6 touchdowns each, that's probably the majority of your touchdowns for a single player. But then he's got 5 other ones elsewhere. It's interesting, isn't it? It's a discussion that I think is going to keep cropping up as we keep going. Will's in the chat and mentioned about the team captain rule. Team captain, obviously, your team captain has pro, which is another. You're looking at this positional here with block, guard, mighty blow, torn, and pro. That's absolutely bad. And if your team captain dies, you can select. I can't remember exactly how it works, but you can select a new one. So that's a new player that you're giving pro to. Very interesting, the rules that Orcs have got this season, and maybe why we're seeing them do so well. But well done to Simon. A very, very good season. He had a group with some really tough players in. He's got out of the group. He's got through and faced a very strong coach and put up a good fight. So well done, Simon, on a great season. And congratulations, Luke, on a very good result. And good luck in the next round. We'll have a little look then at the boards. As you can see, the only games that have been played have been in the bottom half of the draw, but we are starting to see what this looks like. Justin will be waiting to see who wins out of Bretonias and Vampires to see his next opponent, but we do know that Luke will be playing Scott, Wood Elves versus Orcs in the quarterfinals. Looking then at the elimination chamber and how that sits at the moment. Well, Chris currently sits at the top with his Bretonians with 35 points. Sam is currently sitting in second, having got a bye because Mitch dropped out of the chamber early on. And Andy currently sits in third with his loss with the 3 points. That will be the key thing to watch, will be who else loses and how bad they lose, to see whether 3 points is enough for Andy to cling on to the second round of the chamber. Very quickly then, before we go, Tom, do you have a game of the week? Do you have a coach of the week?
I have to say that the game of the week's got to be Orcs versus Wood Elves. That was end to end, nail biting right to the last minute on that side of things. It was it was very impressive. And then I think coach of the week, I will probably go with Luke actually, on the fact that he's always a statistician and trying to get the right moves in, especially after going drawing up against another orc team. He knows how to play that orcs, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that the butchers get to the final.
Yeah, I think Luke's looking in a very good place with that team. It'll be interesting to see how far he can go. I think my game of the week, I think I'm also going to give it to the Elves versus the Orcs. I think partly because it was a very tense and very interesting game. It was a very good kind of advert for both coaches to just, don't give up, because there's always an opportunity, and a really good kind of display from both coaches of good sportsmanship and good attitude towards the game. So a huge kind of well done to the both of them. My coach of the week, I'm going to give it to Chris with his 3-2 win over the Goblins. Chris has put up a hell of a fight in his debut season. He's got some really good results. I'm really glad to see him doing well in the chamber. And he's got a very good looking team. So I'm hoping he ends up going far. So well done to Chris on that result. That is all of our games for this week. Oh, Tom's not on this screen. So I'll go back to this one because I had to put you back in. So I didn't realize you weren't on the other screen. So I'll keep us on this screen. That's all our games for this week. Thank you very much for joining us. There are 2 more weeks of this round. If you haven't got your game booked in, please get your game booked in. There will be no extending of it. We'll have to be doing roll-offs and stuff. So we want all the games to be played. And do your best to get those games played in store as well. That would be really, really good. We will be back next week. Scott probably back. If not, you'll see my lovely face again to go through whatever games are played within the next week. And another little just shout out to anyone who is going to Carrot Crunch at the weekend. All of the best of luck. I know there's a lot of people from A&DBBL attending Carrot Crunch on Saturday and Sunday. So best of luck to you all. We'll see you there. And we'll see you next week for more games. So thank you very much for joining us. See you later.